such a time as this.
And welcome back to For Such a Time as This, the place where there is no such thing as a silent witness. Want to encourage you to go to our webpage for such a time as this .today, for such a time as this .today, as Big Brother continues to squeeze conservatives on their platform. You go to our website, you will always be up to date on our content and always be able to be in contact with For Such a Time as This, as we continue to bring you the world through the lens of Scripture. Okay, let me get into it. There was an article here, you see this, by the DuPage Policy Journal, Winz to police during 2016 arrest. I hope all those ends, and we know what the ends mean. We hope I hope all the ends kill you. And we have a clip. One courageous person, friend of the show, Stephanie Trussell, she went to the Village of Lisle board meeting on April 19th of this year, 2020, and look at what she said.
Good evening. Do I need to say my name?
Please state your name for record. Thank you.
Stephanie Trussell.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to talk. I would like to direct my comments right to Stephen Winz. I need to be honest about this. I'm very uncomfortable about being put in this position. I would prefer that we didn't have to talk about this in public. Steve, you and I were Facebook friends, but didn't physically meet until we were both canvassing on Election Day outside of the old Sheezer school building. I watched you tell voters that your family has been in Lisle for 5 generations. You pointed to Sheezer in the junior high while you were sharing details of your family history in an effort to sway them to your side. Well, my family hasn't been in Lisle for 5 generations. We moved here in 1994 in hopes of raising our children in a town with great schools and friendly neighbors. We hit the jackpot. My husband and I were told not to move to DuPage County because we wouldn't fit in. I'm so glad that we didn't listen to that advice. Our 2 oldest were 9 and 7 when we arrived. It didn't take long for them to bond with their classmates who would eventually become lifelong friends. We immediately followed the examples set by our neighbors and volunteered as much as we could. Between cheering for our children at sporting events and serving in our community, we too made lifelong friends. If I had to create a tagline or a motto for our village, it would be, welcome to Lisle, let me know what you need. No, really, let me know if you need anything. What makes Lisle special is that everyone is family. It didn't take 5 generations for me to realize that Lisle was the best kept secret in DuPage County. Steve, you say you love Lisle. Well, I do too. My feeling is if you truly love Lisle, you would do what's best for the image and immediately resign.
Whoa! Fireworks at the Village of Lisle board meeting. And to that end, I would like to bring in friend of the show, Stephanie Trussell. Welcome, Stephanie.
Well, thank you, Pastor. I'm very excited about being here and having this opportunity to speak with you. And just to give you a tip, we're looking for a way to say N-words. We can just say ninjas,
Say that again. I'm sorry. Say that again.
We can say ninja instead of saying N-words. I hope
gotcha.
So that's a way to say it. Because saying the N-word is kind of awkward, at times. It doesn't roll off your tongue. But
gotcha.
Yeah, ninjas, right.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So the report goes out that he used the N-word when angry at the police. The DuPage County, you saw the media outlet, right?
Mm-hmm.
DuPage story, they run it out. And then he runs for mayor, he loses, but he's still a trustee.
Right.
And then you go to the board, the Village of Lisle board meeting, fireworks go. Explain to us what was going on, Stephanie.
Well, I am very shocked and surprised because, again, I love my town and I've just had I could go on and on about the heart of this town. But what gets me is that my husband, who, full disclosure, he's on the planning and zoning committee right now. He served for a year and he's just been sworn in for a second term. But he was on the ballot running for village trustee as Stephen Winz was running for
Uh-huh.
mayor. My husband was on the slate with the current sitting mayor, who's a Republican, second term running. He
Mm-hmm.
did win, and there were two Democrats on the ballot: Stephen Winz and a woman who happens to be Indian, Sarah Sadat, both Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And so when last summer letters went out to people anonymously informing them a copy. I shouldn't say a letter. It was actually a copy of the police report. It went to several people. I got one,
Huh.
and I was surprised. And I have got some very involved friends, and I sent them a text. I'm like, "Did you get this?" And no one got it. And then I didn't. I put it aside, filed it away, and didn't think much about it. Because I kept thinking, if this were true, surely there would be outrage. Surely the Democrats who tell me they care so much about me and
Yeah,
they
the
want to make sure that I'm not
Democrats.
suffering. Right. So
Yeah,
I know that they would ask this man to step down. And at that
absolutely.
point, when I got the letter, he hadn't announced that he was running for mayor. And so
Gotcha.
when the DuPage Journal came out, my husband went to the village meeting and said, "Steve Winz, you should resign." Now, my husband doesn't have a social media account. And even when he was
Good
running,
for
I
him.
said, you should get one. And he doesn't. So Stephen Winz, yeah, really, Stephen Winz's supporters decided to laser focus their attention on my page and my children. They attacked me and they
Oh.
attacked, yeah.
Whoa, whoa,
So
whoa,
here
whoa,
we
whoa,
have a
whoa.
white, mhm,
Why would
yeah.
they attack you on your? I don't understand it. Because your husband said what he said?
Yeah, because my husband went to a village meeting and said, "Hey, Stephen Wentz, you should resign." So they went on my page, went back. They started trolling on my page back to 2014 or 17, screenshotting things that I've said, like I said, the virus from China.
Yep,
They
that's
said
this is
that's
from
racist.
China. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
correct.
from China. I was just reporting what happened, and so and then they attack my children. You know, I have a public page. I'm very vocal. Everybody knows who I am. Come for
Yes, you
me.
are.
That is
Thank God.
okay, but do not go for my children. And that's what really upset me. Here are some white supporters. Now you wanted to protect me as a black woman, but instead of attacking my white husband, who's a Republican, who said Steve Wentz resign, they came for me and my children. And I'm confused. Why would you attack a black woman and skip over the white male Republican? That
Wait,
just blows me away.
can you help me out? How
Mhm.
exactly did they attack your children?
Well, they told me, well, Stephanie Trussell has a lot of nerve. Her children are bullies. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? My children are, 36 to 16. And then she kept going on. And then she finally laser focused on one of my children that we
Mm-hmm.
happen to have in common. Our
Mm-hmm.
kids were 10 years old together in fifth grade. This woman said, I guess my son bullied her daughter. They're now 28 years old. And in between this time, she and I were good friends. She never mentioned to me that her daughter was still in therapy or hurting because my son teased her when they were 10 years old. But
Whoa, whoa,
once
whoa,
since
whoa,
we're
whoa!
no
She
longer
she had
friends,
never brought this up before, and now she brings it
never
up.
ever mentioned it. Then she said that my children are bullied, and she's focused on my middle child. And when I sent my son a picture of the girl, he's like, "Oh, mom, I don't even remember her." But again, he's 28, she's
Oh wow.
28. They're
Uh-huh.
both parents now, and this woman is putting
Wow.
on social media that my children are bullied. And so, and it got to the point that
Uh-huh.
I just couldn't believe that people that by their own words they care about black people, but they're defending a white guy who used the N word. And again, to say I hope all the N words kill you, I hope to F and God, and Black Lives Matter. So he had gotten arrested for disorderly conduct at a local bar. He's kind of known for getting drunk at bars and doing what he does. And
Oh
so
really?
this is what he does. He's again born and raised here. Everybody knows where all his bones are buried. So when the policemen are letting him go, they process him. He stays at the police station. On his way out, this is what he said to our police. So he uses the Lord's name in vain. He says he's been born again since he was in fourth grade.
That's what he
So
said.
okay, fine. I'm not gonna debate that. So he uses the Lord's name in vain. He uses profanity to slur his black citizens, and also calling for black people to kill the police.
Yes. Not
And
not
and I
not
don't
black
and I,
people, ninjas.
and ninjas to
The
kill the police.
ninjas. That's
And,
the
and
that's the
you
key
know
right there.
that's that exactly. He didn't say I hope these black people that you're focusing
That's
on will
right.
go and kill. It's ninjas. And so as I went on to say, and as my husband said in his address to the village prior to the election, he said, "Look, we have three black men that were raised as from boys to men in this town, and then I have a 16-year-old. So I would say I raised three and a half black men in Lisle.
Yeah.
My sons were like everybody else. They drove too fast. One of my oldest had tinted windows when it was illegal.
Uh-oh.
I mean, they were just normal teenagers
Sure.
doing what normal teenagers do.
Sure.
So they've had their interactions with the Lisle police, and I am so fortunate to say, out of those three black men, and Reagan hasn't started driving yet, The policemen gave them more warnings than they did tickets. My sons do not feel targeted by the Lisle police. They don't have any animosity, and they certainly don't want to kill the Lisle police. And for him to even inject that thought into our community, and in my effort, I got so upset that more people weren't talking about this. So I reached out to some of these local, let's just say, civil rights kind of organizations. And so I'm talking to this woman, and unfortunately, Pastor, I had to pretend that I was one of them, meaning that I'm a left-leaning, and I think Black people are victims, kind of thing, and I had to bite my tongue. And when I told her about it, but she already knew about it, and she said, well, that's just how people think in Lisle. And I'm thinking, no, they don't. He does not represent, but I couldn't say to her what I wanted to say because I wanted her to show up. I wanted her support. And she said, well, that's just how it is, and we're going to stomp this out, and we're going to take care of this. And she told me.
Wait, hold on, back up, just a little bit. So she knew about it, this quote unquote civil rights. She knew about it.
Yes. Yes.
And did you have this conversation before or after the mayor's race?
The meeting. Oh, this was after the mayor's race.
So she knew about it and didn't make an issue of it while he ran for mayor.
Well, exactly. And so, but they said, well, what Steve would go on to say in that tape that you played of me, he said, well, look, I met with the head of the NAACP. Yep. So, like, as if to say, I met with him, I told him my side of the story, let's move on.
Yeah.
But see, I spoke with the head of the NAACP yesterday, and I was very fortunate that he spent so much time talking to me, and I told him that I was a conservative, and we just had a great conversation.
Sure.
He told me that he met with Steve personally at a residence, a mutual whatever residence, and Steve told him the story was fabricated by a publication owned by Bruce Rauner. So he said the story wasn't true. So if you go on to listen to the rest of that video, two of his supporters get up and say, one says repeatedly he used the poor choice of words, and the other one says, let's not judge him by this one incident.
So let me.
And Steve himself, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, Steve himself during that address on the same video, he doesn't say he didn't do it.
Yeah.
He some roundabout legalistic way trying to apologize to the African Americans.
Yeah. Let me play his denial. Let me play his denial because in all fairness, he's saying well, he doesn't say it outright. Let me just let you play. Here's his denial. Here it is.
If I can do my best to recall circumstances. When I found out about this alleged report, immediately upon finding out about this alleged report, I was so disheartened and hurt by the way the report read that I immediately began contacting attorneys to see what I could do to rectify the fact that there was some public documentation that said that I spoke like this. I have gone through that process. And for those of you not familiar with an expungement process, I am now familiar with it. And this is why we find ourselves in a complicated way that I have to respond. Because I know that the purported report was ordered by a DuPage County judge to be deleted. I know that. I am obligated to legally not speak to any purported report as public knowledge because it was ordered by the DuPage County authority to be deleted, and everybody on this board was familiar with that. And I can
now. Here's my thing. He's talking about expungements, orders of judges. Right. But what he didn't say flat out, there was a report going on. It's a lie. I did not say ninjas. That's a flat out lie. It would have been a lot better had he said that, because now you're talking about it. Just say flat out you didn't do it. But what you're saying is, speaking to other people in the community, he is saying flat out he didn't say it. He didn't say that there.
That was a lie. Right.
Yeah, he didn't say that there.
Right. He says how the report read. What is he?
Yes.
Did they grammatically not get it correct? What do you mean? How did it read?
Yes.
So he went on to say Stephanie Trussell has known about this for 2 years. This is in that same video, and I don't understand why she's never brought this to me privately. She just wanted to make a scene. Well, he's a lie because everyone got the copy last summer, and I didn't know about it 2 years ago. And he's also lied, saying that I never brought it to him privately. On election day, we're canvassing outside the same polling place where he constantly went beyond 150 feet. And I said to him, Steve, and this is my first time physically meeting him. We were Facebook friends. I realized we went to the same church. And on Facebook, I said, hey, let's meet for coffee in between services. And then COVID shut the churches down. And then I eventually went on to block him. I wish I could remember why I blocked him, because I let Democrats go on my page all the time. It doesn't bother me, but he must have said something disrespectful, and I didn't just unfriend him. I blocked him. But anyway, so at that on election day, I said to him, Steve, just tell me your side of the story. If the accounts are not accurate, I will apologize to you. Mm-hmm. He yelled at with the only people talking about this. Why is it just you and Dan Prof? I said, Steve, I don't have a radio show anymore in almost 2 years. I don't talk about you and about this incident. I've been giving you grace until after the election. He hopped on his scooter. He had an electric scooter there, and rolled up and down the street and just walked away, wouldn't answer my question. So he goes on to say on that video that I've never asked him about it privately, and that's a lie. He had supporters there as my witness, and my husband was my witness, that I did ask him, just tell me your side of the story, Steve. And so that's what gets me, is that he's a consistent liar. And if you listen to that entire meeting, one woman called in from her vacation in California on speakerphone with her husband, holding the phone to the microphone, saying that Steve called her on Facebook Messenger and bullied her and threatened her with his attorney. I mean, that's what he does. And again, 5 generations in Lisle, everybody knows him. You cannot run into anybody that doesn't have a story about his lack of character. I haven't heard one story of him rescuing a cat out of a tree. It's everything, got drunk, did this.
Wow.
He actually posted on social media bragging that he urinated on a monument for Ronald Reagan.
Wonderful.
And so this is the kind of individual, right, that he acts, and the woman that got up that's known him his whole life that said, we can't judge him on this one incident. Well, you know what, Pastor? If my white Republican husband just whispered the N-word in his sleep,
whispered. If he dreamt about it and it was public knowledge.
If he dreamt it and woke up,
yeah,
right, and accidentally said it or whatever, he would be canceled. So I maybe I missed the last meeting, Pastor, where the Democrats are redefining infrastructure, they're redefining words. So I guess they redefine the definition of using the N-word if you're a white male. And I know he's a big union guy. The union, you're gonna love this. His opponent, Sarah Sadat, again. If you're a white Democrat in Lisle and you're just upset, you're like, man, this man said the N-word, but I got to vote for him because there's no other option. That was a lie. They had a woman of color, an Indian woman, Democrat, running for mayor. They could have just switched their support to her. When she brought up the attention to the union and to voters trying to get the word out, do you know she was attacked?
Whoa.
She tried to cancel her.
You're telling me a Democrat Indian lady,
woman of color,
she brought this issue up in the election?
Yes, she did. And
she brought this issue up, saying that the candidate, that the Democrat candidate with her, was using the ninja word. So she validated that to her. She think it happened.
Well, right. But you know what? If you watch the rest of that video, one of his supporters attacked her and say they're trying to accuse her of releasing this sealed document.
Yeah, I did.
And have you noticed they're more upset about? Steve's more upset about it being released, and a person that what are you getting expunged? Why are you getting expunged? Because you're going to run for office, and you know that you want to seal this and make it go away quietly. Because if you know what, Pastor, if you didn't say it, you wouldn't want it exposed.
So
you want to expose them and say, look how they lied on me.
That's right. The question is, Mr. Winz, right? Mr. Winz. Two questions. One, why did you want it expunged? What was there that you needed it expunged? I think you know what? I think someone needs to ask that question very clearly. I think he said when he saw the report, it wasn't written the right way, or it was taken out of context. How it read. So that's fine. Explain to us how it differed than what the report said. Explain that.
Right.
And why did you need it expunged? And 2, flat out, did you use the ninja word? Flat out.
Right.
Yes or no? Yes or no? Because
but he's trying to wrap himself around that. Well, I've been advised by my attorneys not to say whatever.
You've been advised by your attorney not to say whether or not you use the ninja word.
You can't talk about it, and
then he's guilty.
Familiar with
if
the
that's
process.
true,
right?
That's guilty. So here's the thing, Stephanie. We're out of time here, but this shouldn't go away, because if this is true, because he needs to answer some questions. Then how dare the Democrats continue to hold this posture as they're there for black people? They're
Yeah,
not.
they love me.
They're not.
They care about me as a Black woman. They care about me and my children in this racist country, and every day we have to think about racism as I navigate this through this racist world. But when it's an opportunity, when their feet
Yep.
is to the flames and they get to a fork in the road where they can either support one of their candidates who's a union member, and where they're going to support a white man using the N-word, not just using the N-word, calling for violence against our men and
Hoping the
women that serve in our police
ninjas
department.
kill the
Ninjas,
police.
get them. And
Well-
then Black Lives Matter. He just threw that in as like a spicing, like
Yeah.
cream on top of the sundae. Like, okay, yeah, Black Lives Matter on his way out. I'm just, what is that?
And I hope, and my hope, Stephanie, is that Black people stop being used as political tools. It's just,
Well, this
that's
is going to
what
shock you. I
sickens
know
me.
we're out of time, but a Black woman was actually sitting on the side with his supporters, and she booed during the time when some of the people that, like myself, were speaking. And this is a woman I've known since our kids were 6, and now they're 25, and we were dear friends. And she's supporting him. And I sent her a text and said, "You're gonna have to explain to me how you're supporting him." And I'm like, I was like, I'm almost jealous of the blind support and the undying loyalty that his supporters have. No matter what he says and does, they're supporting him. It's just whether it makes sense or not, they're 100%. And they were just, when you listen to the tape, you can hear them booing and reacting even though they weren't supposed to.
All right, we're going to stay on this. I'm
not going away.
I am blown away.
Me too.
That the Democrat Party, again, the Democrat Party would do this, and it's so blatant. Thanks a lot, Stephanie. Thank you all for listening to For Such a Time as This. This we're going to cover this story. It's not going away. Again, we will continue to look at the world. We will call balls and strikes. We will be truthful whether it's applied to Democrats or Republicans. We'll not pull punches. Because we serve the one King who is coming, and his kingdom will last forever. Thank you and God bless. Thank you for listening and being with us again here at For Such a Time as This.
For such a time as this.